Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Martin, and the Cut Loose channel is my attempt to share some of my experiences now that I've retired. First things first, my remaining microphone I've just discovered isn't working properly, so I'm having to do this intro all over again. I do have another microphone, but it's in my fleece pocket, which I conveniently left hanging on a doorknob back at the cottage in Lincolnshire. So yeah, oh well, that's the way it goes. Since I last vlogged, it's been quite hectic. I went home to the cottage for my annual MOT with the doctor. That all went well. I then drove back to the boat in Cosgrove because I got notification that a river had sort of burst its banks or burst into the canal upstream, and it caused a little bit of a problem with boats breaking their moorings and so on. So I thought, well, I better just check. That was all good. Loosened my lines a little bit. That's fine. Water level had come up about 4, 5, maybe 6 inches. Nothing major. Then when I got back, Eve came along. First time I've seen Eve for, well, a few months really. We're sort of separated by quite a distance, so getting together it's not always all that convenient for either of us really. We went to RAF Coningsby to the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight Members Day. That was also good. Then we made it back to the boat, and yeah, sort of a little bit of exploring, but the weather was a bit iffy. That caused me to get out of shorts and into longs. Then the weather warmed up and I'm out of longs into shorts again. And if you know me, once I put shorts on, that's it usually until the winter. So I kind of broke that rule, but hey ho. Eve insisted on me lighting the diesel stove because it did get cold. That's now, I've let that go out because it's warm again. I'll tell you what, instead of me waffling on like this, why don't I show you? Well, on a nice sunny morning, I left Stoke Bruin, negotiated a few locks and made my way down towards and into Cosgrove. This is Bridge 65. Very nice bridge. I did moor up briefly just above the lock, and then had a quick sort of scout round below the lock to see what the moorings were like. Discovered that there was plenty of space, so I undid my moorings, went through the lock and found somewhere a bit lower down. Now, rather like Stoke Bruin, Cosgrove has got a lot of charm, but perhaps without the reputation, dare I say it. But it does have things like horse tunnels, which were quite novel for me. How on earth they got horses to go through there, I don't know, but there you go. Well, this is the second of the horse tunnels under the canal at Cosgrove. This one is actually identified as the horse tunnel. Pretty cool, really. And here is the pub, which probably won't get to go to on this occasion. Hi. I'm making my way back home. I'm currently at Milton Keynes Station, waiting for a train, and then I've got a change in Nuneaton, and then it's onwards to Stamford. Got quite a busy period at home, so I should be at home for longer than normal. I've got doctor's appointments. I've got the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, Members' Day, so and I've got some carpentry to do at home, so hopefully I'll get it all done. But yeah, enjoying the journey so far. Hello again. I've been home about a week, and I'm now making an unscheduled visit to the boat. Got a notification yesterday morning, that a section of the canal just above where I'm moored has had the banks breached, and I can't remember whether it said it was flooding or it was draining, but anyway, I thought it's probably prudent to go and have a look. In Cosgrove, just above Cosgrove Lock, and yes, the water levels are high here by, I don't know, maybe 6 inches to a foot. I've not seen what's below the lock yet, but this is what's above the lock. So quite high. Apologies for the shaky camera, I've not actually brought anything to hold it with, so I'm just hand holding it, so it's a bit wobbly. This is Cosgrove Lock, which is, as you can see, full, and there's water coming through a leaky lock, but that's not unusual. But then across there's an overspill, which is also down here, so this has risen also. I've just spoken to a couple of guys on a narrowboat just above the lock, and they've come this way this morning and said it wasn't too bad, so all looks okay. That's a little bit tight, I can loosen that, but otherwise I think we're okay. It's a bit higher in the water than it was when I left, but yeah, I'll retie the ropes, but we should be okay. Marvellous. Better to be safe than sorry, but everything's good. We're all retied, and now I'm going to make my way back to the car, and I might pop into the water park or whatever it's called for a cup of tea and a sausage sandwich. Okay, in a bit. This is upstream of where I think the breach is, and this is just below Stoke Bruin Bottom Lock, and you can see where the water's been up and over the lock landing by the fact that there's water all over it. Here, where the water's clearly been up over the top of the towpath by the amount of detritus that's been left behind, and the way the weeds are all leaning in one direction, the grass is all leaning in one direction where the flow's taken it. Well, this presumably is the culprit. I think that's the River Tove coming in, and it's flowing into the canal. I assume it's supposed to flow through the canal because on the opposite side this is happening, but because we had all the rain over the weekend, the river simply got overwhelmed, and this overspill got overwhelmed and caused that amount of flow. The great news is it doesn't look as if it's a breach in the canal bank. It's just a natural phenomena where too much water came down, the river couldn't cope with it, yeah, hopefully nobody was hurt, hopefully nobody's home got lost. Yeah, it'll settle down in a day or two, although we have got a load more rain on the way. Okay, back to the car. Well, I've just had a brief conversation with a lady from the CRT, and she said that there's still a lot of water coming down the River Tove. It was that was responsible, just the absolute volume of water coming down. I asked if there were any losses, and she said a couple of boats broke loose, which have now been rescued. But she said, as far as she knows, there was nothing that tipped or sank, so that was sort of misinformation. But yeah, thankfully it all seems to be okay, but the caveat to that is there's more rain on the way. Following the fatal accident of Squadron Leader Mark Long way back in May, all of the BBMF's fighter aircraft are being grounded pending the investigation. Rather fitting tribute to Squadron Leader Long. This Spitfire was given its own special code of LNG. Although the fighter aircraft were merely a static display, there were of course the usual attractions within the BMF's hangar. Here, Hall and Hall from Bourne in Lincolnshire, who have most of the collection of BRMs, had a BRM Formula 1 racing car on display and an ERA of the type that was raced by Raymond Mays back in the day. There were also all the usual trade and memorabilia stalls to tempt money from your wallet. I, of course, managed to keep mine firmly under control. But in amongst it all were these two examples of aero engines. One of a Griffin engine in wonderful condition, the other not so good, a Merlin that met an untimely end during the Second World War. But of course, it's the sight and sounds of those wonderful aero engines and aeroplanes in the air that we've all come to see.
It's taking to fly it that slowly.
Oh, I know. Look, it's quite stood still.
Yeah. Not dropping out of the sky. I know, I just love it.
Wow.
Oh, I like that.
Well, that was absolutely wonderful. Rubbish camera work, but and apologies for a load of naff shots of aeroplanes that probably don't come across on video, but the engine of the Lancaster really do set me off. And the Typhoon was mesmerising, absolutely marvellous. So after all that, it was back to the cottage for the night, and then following that, the next morning, back off to the boat. The weather was really, really rubbish for the next couple of days, so Eve and I tried to potter around, tried to do things. We couldn't go for a cruise. We went for some sort of stunted walks because, as I say, it was pouring with rain, and then part of the Great Ouse Valley flooded. Yeah, that brings me to where I am now. So, hope you enjoyed all that. If you aren't already, please think about subscribing. It doesn't cost anything. If you want to know what I get up to next on my southerly journey, then please sort of press the notification button. And if you think it's worthy and you enjoyed the engine noises as much as I did, then give me a thumbs up. Okay then, see ya.